Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
In the year 2350, humanity had extended its reach into the cosmos, establishing colonies on distant planets and orbiting space stations. Among these, Elysium Station was a bustling hub for intergalactic trade, a vibrant melting pot of species and cultures. Neon lights flickered against the backdrop of stars, and the hum of conversation blended with the whirring of machinery. Caleb leaned against the counter of his cramped workshop, surrounded by half-disassembled droids and tools strewn about haphazardly. He wiped the grease from his hands and sighed, looking out at the busy thoroughfare beyond the glass. It was a Saturday, and the station was alive with activity, but he felt isolated in his little corner of the universe. At 32, Caleb was jaded. He was a human mechanic, skilled yet burdened with the monotony of fixing droids. Relationships had become a distant dream, overshadowed by late-night repairs and missed connections. All work and no play, he muttered to himself, eyeing a nearby piece of machinery that was equally neglected. His current project, a malfunctioning droid named Lumi, had gone haywire, its circuits fried from a recent malfunction. "Lumi," he said, shaking his head as the droid emitted a series of frantic beeps. "Just hold together a little longer." After a considerable tinkering session, he decided it was time to seek professional help. He had heard whispers about an alien mechanic who specialized in hybrids at the outskirts of the station, and today he would give it a try. With a determined stride, Caleb set off toward a ramshackle shop marked by a flickering neon sign, Zephyr's Mechanical Wonders. As he entered, he was immediately struck by the ambient glow of tools suspended in midair, manipulated by an unseen force. At the back of the shop, he spotted Zephyra. She was an alien with vivid blue skin shimmering under the shop lights, her slender form captivating. Her hair floated elegantly, giving her an ethereal presence. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice smooth like silk, laced with an accent he couldn't quite place. Caleb felt a flutter in his chest. "I need help with my droid," he stammered, holding Lumi closer. Her piercing green eyes scanned him, and the air around him felt charged with an inexplicable energy. "Bring it here," Zephyra instructed, gesturing toward her workstation. As he carefully placed Lumi on the table, he couldn't help but feel the excitement mixed with apprehension. What were the chances that a simple repair would lead him to something more? As Caleb stood by Zephyra's workstation, he could feel the tension in the air. She moved with an effortless grace, fingers deftly navigating over Lumi's circuits. "You've given your droid quite a beating," she remarked, glancing up at him with a teasing smile. Caleb felt a warmth rising in his cheeks. "Yeah, well, it's more a case of user error than anything else," he admitted, scratching the back of his head awkwardly. Her laughter rang like music, lifting the weight of his self-consciousness. "You'd be surprised how many humans think they can treat droids like toys," she quipped, narrowing her eyes playfully. "But most of my clients don't even care to see the craftsmanship behind this technology." Caleb watched in awe as Zephyra expertly disassembled Lumi, revealing intricate gears and wires he'd never noticed before. "It's fascinating how you aliens work with technology differently than we do," he said, genuinely curious. "I mean, look at you. You're practically floating while you work. Is that your way of saying I'm more skilled?" she teased, twirling a holographic tool. He chuckled. "No, just that humans are not made for mechanics in zero gravity." He glanced around the workshop, brimming with various alien devices. "What's the secret?" Zephyra's demeanor shifted momentarily as she recounted tales of her species, the Zalthari, known for their unique connection to technology and the passion behind their artistry. She explained, "We perceive machines as living extensions of ourselves. If you nurture them, they can nurture back." Caleb's brow furrowed as he tried to comprehend this alien perspective. "That's a deep way of looking at it. I wish droids came with an instruction manual, something to teach us how to bond with them like that." As she worked, their banter flowed effortlessly. "So, tell me, Caleb," Zephyra inquired, glancing up with a sly smile, "do you usually bring your droids in for repairs? Or is there another reason you visit a mechanic like me?" He raised an eyebrow, feeling the flirtation in her words. Honestly, this is my first time in here. I'd heard good things about you. Good things, she echoed, leaning in closer, her emerald eyes sparkling with mischief. I may have to live up to these claims then. What else have you heard about me? Caleb felt tension knot in his stomach, a mingling of excitement and nervousness. Just that. You have a unique way with machines and a reputation for fixing things. Is that all? She said, smirking, before she resumed tinkering with Lumi. Her confidence was intoxicating, and Caleb found himself surprisingly taken by her charm. Careful now, he replied, finding courage as their eyes locked. I might just start believing you're more than just a mechanic. The air thickened with unspoken possibilities, a shimmering connection growing between them as their playful banter hinted at something deeper. This was more than just a simple repair. It felt like the beginning of an adventure waiting to unfold. Zephyr's focus shifted to Lumi as she meticulously assessed its internal components. It seems your droid has a few issues beyond just user error, she noted, frowning slightly as she pointed to a cluster of blown circuits. This won't be a quick fix. Caleb's heart sank at the thought of further delays. How long do you think it'll take? He asked, trying to suppress his disappointment. I can work quickly, she assured him. But we might need to order a replacement part. It's rare to find something like this in stock on Elysium. She knelt down with an almost fluid motion, continuing her work with meticulous attention. Caleb watched her, entranced by the way she moved. Anything I can do to help? He offered, stepping closer to her workspace. Despite feeling out of his element, he wanted to be there, to share this moment with her. Actually, yes, she replied, looking up with a gleam in her eye. Hand me that multimeter, would you? Caleb fumbled for the tool, his clumsiness somewhat comical in contrast to her grace. Like this, he handed it to her, and their fingers brushed for a brief moment, sending a jolt of electricity through him. As Zephyr continued to work, Caleb found himself opening up in a way he hadn't expected. You know, it's hard to find someone who understands machines like you do. Most people just want to upgrade their droids without caring for the mechanics beneath. They see them as just machines. Zephyr paused, glancing at him with sincere interest. And how do you see them? Caleb considered her question carefully. As tools mainly. My job is to fix them, and I've learned to appreciate their intricacies over time. But honestly, they can't replace human interaction. He realized he was revealing more of himself than he intended. You're lonely, Zephyr observed, her voice softer now. It's normal. Even in a crowd, it's easy to feel isolated. His heart raced at her insight, an unexpected connection forming in that shared vulnerability. I guess I am. It's just hard to find authentic connections in a place like this. Zephyr nodded, her expression contemplative. I understand. On my home planet, bonds are meaningful. They bring us together. Do humans not have the same? It's complicated. Humans tend to get caught up in, well, everything, he admitted, a twinge of sadness evident in his tone. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever find someone who understands me. As the conversation flowed, Zephyr leaned in closer as they shared stories of their lives, his mundane work on Elysium, and her tales of other worlds filled with awe-inspiring landscapes and strange technologies. Together, they laughed and discussed their differences, finding common ground in their mutual desire for connection. Maybe we're not as different as we think, Zephyr mused, a hint of a smile curling her lips. You work with technology. I work with it too, just in a different way. Caleb felt his heart soar at her words, the weight of their conversation lightening the atmosphere. You're right, he replied, leaning closer as the intimacy of the moment enveloped them. I could learn a lot from you. She grinned, her eyes twinkling with understanding. And I from you, Caleb. Let's figure this out together. Their exchange was filled with an undeniable current, a synergy that went beyond mere friendship. As the hours passed, their camaraderie deepened, the workshop echoing with laughter and shared insights. But as Zephyr worked on Lumi, Caleb could sense a shift. Something profound was taking root. He hadn't come here for an emotional journey, But it was becoming increasingly clear that this wasn't just about fixing a droid. After hours of repair and engaging conversation, Zephyra wiped her hands on a cloth, revealing a smudge of grease on her cheek. "All right, I think I've fixed most of the damage," she declared, glancing at Lumi with satisfaction. "But I need to perform a final calibration that's a bit unconventional." Caleb raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. "What do you mean by unconventional?" Zephyra met his gaze, her expression turning serious. "In my culture, we believe that technology and life are intertwined. Sometimes, to truly fix something, you need to connect with it on a deeper level." He felt intrigued yet cautious. "What does that involve?" She took a deep breath. "It's a ritual of sorts, a way to channel energy into the machine, but it requires—" Her voice softened. "Trust between the individuals involved." Caleb's heart raced, with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "And how exactly do I fit into this?" Zephyra stepped closer, her eyes locked onto his. "I will need your energy to connect with Lumi," she explained. "During this process, our energies will merge, allowing me to synchronize with the droid's core. It will be profound, Caleb." He swallowed hard, the air thick with tension. "Profound how?" She smiled gently, observing his apprehension. "It involves a physical connection, a merging of our essences. It strengthens the bond with the droid, but also transcends mere mechanics." Caleb hesitated, torn between intrigue and uncertainty. "You mean, like a mating ritual?" "Yes," she answered, her smile revealing both warmth and mischief. "But it's not just about the physicality. It's about understanding, trusting, being open to each other in every sense." His mind raced, contemplating the implications. "I barely know you, Zephyra. How can I trust you like that?" Zephyra stepped back, sensing his hesitation. "You do not have to do this if you are uncomfortable. I simply wanted to offer you a different way of viewing this process." Caleb realized he was caught up in the moment. Denying this connection felt wrong. "No, it's not that. I'm just surprised," he admitted, meeting her gaze. "I've never experienced anything like this before." She reached out, placing her hand over his heart. "That's the beauty of it. You're not just fixing a droid. You might discover something about yourself in the process." The room felt charged as Caleb absorbed her words. Intuition guided him. This was an opportunity to experience something extraordinary with someone who saw him beyond his human limitations. "All right," he agreed breathlessly, feeling a mixture of excitement and nerves wash over him. "I'm willing to try." Zephyra led Caleb to a circle of tools arranged with alien symbols. She motioned for him to sit, and he followed, his pulse racing in anticipation. Taking her place beside him, she initiated the ritual, hums and whispers wafting through the air. With slow, deliberate gestures, she guided him through the process. Caleb felt warmth radiating from her body, the energy between them unmistakable. As they touched foreheads, a soft glow enveloped them, shifting as Zephyra began to channel her energy into Lumi. In that moment, Caleb found himself deeply aware of her presence, her warmth, her scent, and how seamlessly their energies intertwined. The boundaries between them faded as their thoughts began to blend, revealing hidden layers of their emotions and desires. Caleb was engulfed in a tapestry of feelings, joy, fear, longing, each thread weaving a new understanding of his identity. He found himself exploring feelings he had buried deep, finally allowing someone to see him for who he truly was. Together, they breathed in synchrony, and as the world around them melted away, Caleb embraced the connection, a union that transcended the physical realm. In this shared space, nothing else mattered, just the exploration of two souls reaching towards something greater than themselves. It was unlike anything he had ever imagined. Their physical closeness transformed into a euphoric communion. The energy surged stronger with every heartbeat, culminating in an explosion of light that pulsed through Lumi, awakening its dormant programming. Then, in a symphony of color and light, the ritual culminated. Caleb and Zephyra opened their eyes, only to find Lumi glowing vibrantly. It whirred and beeped to life, scanning its surroundings with newfound clarity. As the light from Lumi's systems faded, Caleb felt a rush of exhilaration mixed with the lingering intimacy of their shared ritual. His heart raced, not just from the energy of the droid awakening, but from the bond he felt with Zephyra. She glanced at him, her expression a blend of pride and curiosity. "I didn't just fix Lumi," she whispered, her voice low and thick with emotion. "We fixed each other." Caleb felt the weight of her words, heavy yet liberating. Caleb's joy morphed into a swell of confusion. The memories of their close interactions flooded back. The way her fingers brushed against his, the electric contact between their bodies in the ritual, and he felt a mix of exhilaration and fear. "Zephyra," he began, but the words were caught in his throat. The energy pulsing between them began to thrum with new life, and he suddenly realized the depth of his feelings. A part of him wanted to fully embrace this connection, yet another part feared what it could mean. "Are you okay?" Zephyra asked gently, noticing the turmoil in his expression. Caleb took a deep breath, steadying himself. "I didn't expect to feel so connected to you. I'm not sure what to do with these feelings." Zephyra moved closer, her gaze unwavering. "You don't have to decide everything now. Sometimes it's enough to feel and let that guide you." Her voice was soothing yet filled with an undercurrent of yearning. "But it is complicated," he replied, running a hand through his hair. "You're from another world, and I'm just me. Can this even work?" "Love doesn't adhere to boundaries," she answered softly. "And mating is not just biological. It is emotional and spiritual. We've already shared something intimate by merging our energies. I feel drawn to you, Caleb, and it's not just because of our connection to Lumi." Caleb swallowed hard, the lump in his throat a surreal reminder of how vulnerable he was feeling. "You're right. This isn't just about fixing droids anymore. It's about us." Suddenly, the pull of desire surged through him, igniting something deep within. He reached out, cupping her face gently in his hands. "I want this. I want you." As the admission hung in the air between them, Zephyra smiled, a smile that lit up the workshop brighter than the neon signs outside. She leaned in, their foreheads touching once more, the intimacy electrifying. "Then let's explore that connection deeper." Caleb's pulse quickened, realizing what he truly wanted. He was ready to embrace the unconventional bond they had formed. "Yes," he breathed, barely above a whisper. "I want to mate with you, Zephyra." With an understanding that went beyond language, they moved closer, the distance evaporating. Zephyra wrapped her arms around him, pulling him in, and their lips met in a soft, tentative kiss that quickly deepened. It felt as if the universe had shifted, aligning everything in that moment. As their kiss deepened, Zephyra began to guide him, narrating how the ritual of their species worked. It wasn't merely physical. It exemplified trust, love, and a desire to fully engage with each other. Their bodies melded together as they explored each other with urgent passion, realizing how beautiful this form of connection could be. Caleb felt his inhibitions melt away as the world around them faded into oblivion. With every caress, every kiss, and shared breath, their energies intertwined, creating a vibrancy that echoed through their beings. Their bond manifested in movements that felt both ancient and instinctual, revealing their desires without the need for words. Zephyra's skin felt electric against his hands, and as they moved with fluid grace, Caleb was filled with a sense of completion he had never before experienced. Each kiss ignited flames of passion, and their bodies responded to the rhythm of one another, dancing through the connection they were forging. Together, they soared through galaxies of sensation, exploring the depths of their encounter, engaging in the beautiful act of mating that fused their souls. Each moment expanded from mere physical pleasure to a deeper understanding of what it meant to connect, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. In the throes of their mating, Caleb felt unshackled, liberated from the burdens he had carried for so long. With Zephyra, he uncovered facets of himself that had been dormant. He didn't just feel human. He felt alive. As they finally reached the peak of their union, waves of ethereal light enveloped them, illuminating the workshop in a glorious glow. The connection seemed to resonate throughout the universe, telling the story of two beings who had found solace in each other, defying the boundaries of their worlds. As the afterglow of their intimate connection enveloped them, Caleb and Zephyra lay entwined amidst the remnants of their shared ritual. The workshop was filled with an ethereal quiet, a stark contrast to the chaotic buzz of Elysium Station outside. Caleb felt both exhilarated and vulnerable, the emotional weight of their union settling upon him. Zephyra turned to face him, her emerald eyes sparkling with warmth. "That was extraordinary," she breathed, a smile blossoming on her face. Caleb felt a flutter in his chest, a mix of joy and uncertainty. "I've never experienced anything like that before. It felt as if we became part of something bigger. Together." Her expression softened, and she brushed a thumb across his cheek, igniting another spark of sensation. "You and I are connected now, Caleb. Our energies merged, and it's a bond one cherished deeply. But I understand if you have concerns or doubts." He shook his head, searching for the right words. "No, I don't regret it. I just didn't expect to feel this way. It's scary to think about where this leads." Zephyra's gaze remained steady. Love and connection can be daunting, but sometimes the journey is what matters most. Caleb took a deep breath, appreciating the weight of her words. He needed this honesty. They had crossed a boundary that couldn't be taken lightly. "So, what do we do now?" he asked, a mix of hope and apprehension coloring his tone. She smiled softly, her warmth radiating around him. "We continue to explore this bond. I want to learn more about you, just as you learn about me. We can defy the odds, Caleb." As the reality of her words sank in, Caleb felt the stirrings of excitement once more. "I want that too," he replied, determination solidifying in his voice. "Let's see where this takes us." They lay together for a few moments longer, basking in the comfort of shared silence. Lumi whirred beside them, its newly calibrated circuits gleaming in the dim light of the workshop. "Look, even Lumi seems pleased," Caleb said, breaking the quiet with a chuckle. Zephyra laughed, a sound that felt like music in his ears. "Yes, it appears our connection has also renewed its spirit." Caleb sat up, his thoughts racing as he glanced around the workshop, now feeling more like a home than just a place of work. "What about your shop? Your work?" "Repairs can wait," Zephyra replied with confidence. What we've shared, is more important." As they stood up together, the atmosphere brimming with newfound energy, Caleb felt as though the universe had opened up before him. "So, what's next for us?" he asked, curiosity evident in his voice. "How about we take Lumi for a test run?" she suggested, her eyes sparkling. "You can show me your world, and perhaps I'll even share mine." Caleb grinned widely, excitement bubbling within him. "I'd love to." Before long, they prepared Lumi, who was ready to soar to new heights. As they stepped outside the workshop, the vibrant bustle of Elysium Station caught their senses. Distant laughter, neon lights, and a kaleidoscope of species mingling amidst the activities of a thriving intergalactic marketplace. Hand in hand, they embraced the uncertainty ahead, the future marked by their unique bond. Their laughter rang out, faded echoes of their intimate rituals still painted on their skin, reverberating deep within their hearts. Caleb couldn't help but feel a sense of hope blooming within him, a promise of adventure, love, and connection as they ventured together into the unknown. Their journey was only beginning, woven with threads of love transcending differences, forging bonds that would last a lifetime. Together, Caleb and Zephyra stood ready to navigate the cosmos, not as separate beings, but united by their extraordinary connection.